welcome to our channel Eazy Btech. This is Srujna. In the last session, I had discussed about inheritance concept. What is inheritance? The process of acquiring variables and methods from one class to another class is called as inheritance. The process of acquiring variables and methods from one class to another class is called as inheritance. What is the main objective of inheritance? The main objective of inheritance is code extensibility. What is that? Code extensibility. Whenever we are extending a class, automatically the code is reused. Whenever we are extending the class, automatically the code is reused. Inheritance is also known as easy relationship. Inheritance is also known as easy relationship. So, what are the types of inheritance? There are 5 types of inheritance are there. What are that? Single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, multiple inheritance, hybrid inheritance. But in Java, there are 4 inheritance are there. That is nothing but single, multi-level, hierarchical, hybrid. Java doesn't support multiple inheritance. But Python supports multiple inheritance. Why? Because Python solves ambiguity problem. That's why multiple inheritance supports in Python. So, see here, it is a single inheritance. In single inheritance, there is only 2 classes are there. So, one class is a parent class and another class is a child class. Child class extending the properties of parent class. Child class is extending the properties of parent class. So, coming to the next one, that one is multi-level inheritance. In multi-level inheritance, there are 2 or more classes are there. Here, see here, if class B, so class A is a superclass. Class B acts as a superclass as well as subclass. Class B is a superclass or subclass. So, whenever it extends the properties of A, whenever class B extending the properties of A, it will act as a subclass. So, whenever class B is giving some properties to the child class, it is nothing but C class. The B class acts as a parent class or superclass or base class. Okay, this is about multi-level inheritance. Then coming to the next inheritance, that is nothing but hierarchical inheritance. So, see here in single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, I already told in previous sessions with example programs. Now, I am telling about hierarchical inheritance. What is hierarchical inheritance? A class contains more than one child class. So, a parent class contains more than one child class. That is nothing but hierarchical inheritance. Okay. Let's see an example program for hierarchical inheritance. Okay, I'm taking a class name as A. A class contains a method that is nothing but M1 self print M1 method. Class B contains another method that is nothing but M2 print M2 method. Class C contains another method that is nothing but M3 self print M3 method. Okay, let's see here. So here I am extending in B class, I am extending the properties of A. Here B class I am extending the properties of A. Okay, and at the same time in C class I am extending the properties of A. Okay, so whenever we extending the properties of A, M1 method will came to the B class as well as C class also. So here How many parent class? How many parent classes are there? There are only one parent class, that is nothing but A. So how many child classes are there? There are two child classes, that is nothing but B and C. Then we have to create two objects. Why? Because in this program there are two child classes are there. That's why we have to create an object. So we have to create two objects for these two child classes. Let's create an object for these two child classes. See here, I am creating an object for B. B is equal to B of. Let's call this M1 method, M2 method. B dot M1, B dot M1 and B dot M2. Let's execute these ones. M1 method, M2 method. After that, I am creating an object for C class. C is equal to C of. Okay. Let's call M1 method C dot M1, and next you can call M3 method. There is no M2 method in C class. M2 method present in B class only. M2 method present in B class only. So let's call M3 method. Let's print this. M1 method, M2 method, M1 method, M3 method. This is an example program for hierarchical inheritance. Let's see another example program for hierarchical inheritance. I am taking a class as number. In this class, one method is there, that is nothing but NUM is a number, self is a variable. Okay. In this method, I am creating two instance variable that are nothing but self dot A is equal to somewhat 20. Okay. Self dot B is equal to for example 10. Okay. So in the class number, I'm creating a method that is nothing but NUM. In that method, I'm creating two instance variable that is nothing but A and B, 20 and 10. Here, I have to perform addition, subtraction, multiplication for these two numbers. Addition, subtraction, multiplications are three classes separately. Class sum. Class sum contains a method def sum. Self. Okay. Let's print here. Print addition. Addition is equal to self dot A plus self dot B. So self dot A plus self dot B. These two are in number method. That number present in which class? Number class. So I have to extend these class. I'm creating another class that is nothing but class subtraction of. Again I'm extending number. Subtraction. I'm creating a method that is nothing but subtraction. Print subtraction is equal to self dot A minus self dot B. Okay. Again, I'm creating a class. The class name is multiplication extends number. Number is a class. Extends number. Okay. Here I am creating a method. The method name is MUL. Self is a argument. That is a default argument. Print multiplication is equal to self dot A into self dot B. Let's see here. See this program. How many parent classes are there in this example? There is only one parent class. See here. Number. How many child classes are there? There are 3 child classes. There are 3 child classes. One parent class contains 3 child classes. So, it is an example program for hierarchical inheritance. So, how many objects are created? So, here we want to create 3 objects. Why? Because there are 3 child classes are there. That's why we have to create 3 objects. So, let's create an object for sum. S1 is equal to sum of. Let's create another object that is nothing but S2 is equal to subtraction of. Another object is multiplication. M is equal to MUL of. Okay, I am creating 3 objects. After that, see here sum, subtraction, multiplication. So, I have to call sum function. Before you have to call sum function, so you have to call number function. Why? Because the self.a, self.b present in number method. That's why first of all you have to call s1.num method. Then move for the s1.addition. That is nothing but sum. Then after that, I have to call subtraction function, subtraction method. But before that, you can call number method. Why? Because the self.a, self.b present in number method. Because S1 is different object, S2 is different object. That's why you have to call again with object reference. S2.number, S2.subtraction. And next one is I have to call multiplication method. Before you have to call multiplication method, first of all we have to call number method. Why? Because the self.a, self.b present in number method. Yes, not S, M dot NUM. After that, M dot MUL. Let's see the answer. 30, 10, 200. 20 plus 10, answer is 30. 20 minus 10, then answer is 10. Okay. So 20 into 10, the answer is 200. This is an example program for hierarchical inheritance. Okay. Let's see another inheritance. What is this? Multiple inheritance. In multiple inheritance, in hierarchical inheritance, one parent class contains more than one child class. But in multiple inheritance, one child class contains more than one parent class. One child class contains more than one parent class. That is about multiple inheritance. Let's see here. For example, I'm taking two classes. The first one is A class, second one is B class, and third one is C class. A class, B class. So what is the last one? Last one is C class. Okay. So A class contains M1 method. A class contains M1 method. And B class also contains M1 method. B class also contains M1 method. Okay. I am extending these two classes. C class extending these two classes. That is nothing but A class and B class. Okay. Now, C class contains all the properties in A class and all the properties in B class. Why? Because C class extends the properties of A class and B class. Automatically, C class contains the properties of A class and the properties of B class. So, if it is a Java program, the compiler will confused whenever I'm extending A, B. Whenever I'm extending both classes, the compiler will confuse. I'm calling here, why confuse? C is equal to, I'm creating an object for C class. C is equal to, let's C of. Okay, I'm calling M1 method, C.M1. So, if it is a Java program, whenever I'm calling M1 method, the compiler will confused. So, then I have to execute either A class M1 method or B class M1 method. The compiler will confused. I have to execute either M1 method in A class or M1 method in B class. So this is about ambiguity problem. This is about ambiguity problem. That's why, okay, that's why multiple inheritance does not support in Java. Does not support in Java. But Python solve this problem. Whenever C class extends A, comma B, whenever C class extends A, comma B, so C is equal to C of, I am creating an object. Whenever calling a M1 method, it will give first priority to the A class. It will give first priority to the A class. If I am extending, I'm extending like this, B, comma A, B, comma A. Automatically, when I am calling C.M1 method, automatically the first priority goes to the B class. Okay. Let's see an example program for multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance. Class A contains M1 method. M1 method. Print M1 method. Class B contains M2 method. Class B contains M2 method. Class B contains M2 method. Class C extends the properties of A, comma B. Extends the properties of A, comma B. Here I am not writing anything, that's why I am giving pass here. So whenever I am extending the properties of A, comma B, so A properties and B properties are came to the C class. So let's create an object for C class. C is equal to C of. See here in this program, how many parent classes are there? There are 2 parent class. How many child classes are there? There is only one child class. There is only one child class. Let's call M1 method C dot M2 method. There is no ambiguity. So the program is executed successfully. M1 method, M2 method. The answer is M1 method, M2 method. So let's see here another example. If M1 method, if A class contains M1 method and B class is also contains M1 method, then what will happen? Okay. C of A comma B. C extends A comma B. First of all, it gives the priority to the A. It gives the priority to the A. So A class M1 method is executed. A class M1 method is executed. Let's see the answer. M1 method in A class. M1 method in B class. Let's execute this. So the answer is M1 method in A class. So it is the answer. If I can extend the classes like this, B comma A. Now the answer is M1 method in B class. M1 method in B class is the answer. So if C class is also contains M1 method, if C class also contain M1 method, print M1 method in C class. Then what will happen? Okay, here A class is also contains M1 method, B class is also contain M1 method, C class is also contains M1 method. Then what will happen? The first priority goes to the child class. The first priority means child class. The first priority goes to the child class. Then it will execute M1 method in C class. M1 method in C class. Okay. So if I am creating like this, if I am calling M2 method, so first of all, it will check M2 method present in C or not. If it is present, it will be printed. If it is not present, then it will check on B class. M2 method is there or not. So there is no M2 method in B class. Again, it will check A class. There is M2 method is there or not in A class. There is no M2 method in A class. Automatically, it will generate an error message M2 attribute. So there is no M2 attribute in C class. Okay. So this is about multiple inheritance. Okay. This is about multiple inheritance. Let's see another example. Let's see another inheritance type. That is nothing but hybrid inheritance. What is hybrid inheritance? So an inheritance, either a program contains more than two inheritance. A program contains more than two inheritance. That is called as hybrid inheritance. Okay, that is called as hybrid inheritance. Let's see an example program for hybrid inheritance. An example program for hybrid inheritance. For example, I am taking a class A. So a method with m1. Let's print here. Print m1 method. m1 method. Again, I am taking a class. Class B extends the properties of A. m2. So it is m2 method. Print m2 method. Class C extends the properties of B. I am taking another method, that is nothing but m3. Print m3 method. So up to now it is a multi-level inheritance. Up to now it is a multi-level inheritance. After that I am taking another class. The class name is D. The class name is D. Def m4 of self. Here it is an print m4 method. Okay. I am taking another class E extends the properties of D. M5 method. Print M5 method. Let's see here. Let's see here. I'm taking a class name as A. After that, I'm taking another class that is nothing but B. After that, I'm taking another class that is nothing but C. A, B, C. Here, B class extends the properties of A. B class extends the properties of A. And next, C class extends the properties of B. Okay. So, up to this, it is a multi-level inheritance. It is a B class. Then now it is a C class. Okay. Up to this, it is a multi-level inheritance. After that, which class came? There is a D class is there after that. Okay. Class D is there. After that, class E is there. Class E. Okay. Class D. And next one is class E. Class E extends the properties of C. extends the properties of C as well as D. C as well as D. See here, C as well as D also. C as well as D. Okay, up to this block is multi-level inheritance. So this block is multiple inheritance. Okay, so here how many child classes are there? How many child classes are there? There is only one child class. There is only one child class. How many parent classes are there? There are 4 parent classes are there. There is only child class. There is only one child class is there. So I have to create only one object for this program. Let's see, E is equal to E of. E of. Let's call these methods one by one. E dot M1, E dot M2, E dot M3, E dot M4, E dot M5, etc. Okay, let's execute this program. M1 method, M2 method, M3 method, M4 method, M5 method. Okay, it is an example program for which inheritance? Hybrid inheritance. Let's move on to the next topic. What is that? Super method. Let's see here. Super method. Super method is used for to call parent class members from child class. So parent class members from child class. So what is the use of super method is code reusability. Super class method. Super method is used for to call parent class members from the child class. We can call a method super class. We can call a method parent class members from the child class. So let's see an example program for super method DC. So here extending the properties of C and extending the properties of D. So all methods are M1, 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 M1. Okay, M1 method in class A, M1 method in class B, like this. M1 method in class B, M1 method in class C, M1 method in class D, M1 method in class E. Okay, let's call M1 method. What will happen? Actually, E dot M1. So it is a child class. I am creating an object for child class. Child class contains M1 method. Automatically, M1 method in class E is executed. The answer is M1 method in class E. So here in M1 method, in M1 method, I am putting here super method, super of D comma self dot M1. So super method. What is it? See here. What is a super class of D? Super class of D is C. Then the answer is M1 method in C class. M1 method in C class. See here. M1 method in C class is the answer. So here I have to put here super method. So what is the super method of D? Super method of D is C. That's why it is executed. Okay. C class M1 method is executed. This is about super method. Okay, up to now I completed inheritance topic. Okay, I hope all of you understand up to this concept. So please watch our videos regularly. If you have any doubts on these regarding topics, please post on comment section. Okay, thanks for watching.